Well, hey there, you're on the internet, I have some free time, and welcome to the Triple N Network, where all you newbie nib nerds can find all the news you'll need. Let's look at an ink today, shall we? Now, today's ink I have in sample form DeAtramentis Document Turquoise. So it's one of their permanent lines of the permanent line of ink known as the Document series. It's the light blue of the collection. Here, I got all three blues, so I've already tested the dark blue and their standard blue, and this is the light blue or turquoise. Now, all the tests were done in this Knox Aristotle with an extra fine nib. Granted, the nibs aren't marked, but I just want you to see just how fine this nib is. It's really quite fine. And this Sheaffer School Pen. But, you know, of course it's a school pen, so even though it says fine on the nib, it's actually more like a medium. Let's check out the chromatography. Now, here's how you're supposed to do chromatography, where you put the little blobby of ink and then instantly dunk it in the water, and you watch it wash up. And you see that ring around it, where some of it really wanted to stay, and you see how there's this weird band in the middle where it's almost like fighting going up anymore. So it definitely shows that there's potential for water resistance. Now here I let it dry, and look how it did not move. In fact, the water didn't even want to go through it. It had to like creep up around the edges, and it went all the way up to right about here, and you can see that none of the blue moved. So I thought I'd compare it to some other permanent blues. They were all tested with water, ammonia, like denatured alcohol, you know, like 98.5% alcohol, and bleach. So here's Mont Blanc Permanent Blue, DeAtramentis Document Dark Blue, just regular Document Blue, Turquoise, Noodler's Bad Blue Heron, and Bad Belted Kingfisher. As you can see, it held up very well under water, ammonia, alcohol, and bleach. It just did not budge. Now, Clairefontaine 90 grams per square meter. As you can see, there's really not a lot of shading. It's just a solid blue. Also, you might be able to tell. I mean, does that extra fine or medium, do they look any different, really? Or, I mean, it says it's a fine pen, but it really is medium in line, and there really is no difference. And you can see how broad those lines are. And there was massive line width expansion, first of all. And look at that. I mean, I'm not even, like, the light's coming from this direction. So it bled through on Clairefontaine, and this stuff is dense. And there was feathering, there's this like intense woolliness. The water test, I mean, this did not budge. You can't even tell that there was a water test. It's so intact. The bleach, I really scrubbed it in, and so the paper started to come apart, so that's the only reason it moved. Now, Rhodia 80 grams per square meter. Again, do those look like an extra fine and a fine or even a medium to you? Those are insanely thick lines. You see that feathering? See that intense woolliness? Look at that. This is Rhodia. And again, the light's coming from this direction. If I went like this, you can see, but I mean, I can almost read that. But yeah, it's, as I said, it's murdering these fancy papers. Now the water test, again, it didn't move, it didn't blink, it didn't dye the page, nothing washed off. And again, the bleach didn't do anything to it either, so in the sense of it being a permanent ink, oh, it's permanent. Now here's Tomoe River, where it has like a shine to it, and actually it has a bit of a sheen. I wonder if this will show up on camera. It's like a red sheen. Maybe I'll be able to get it. Oh, you can kind of see it. See how it's like flashy down there? But yeah, I mean, for an extra fine and a fine medium, 20 seconds to dry, and you get this slight halo effect, but you don't get much shading. And I mean, there's no spread really. I mean, there's a bit, but I mean not so much. And there's no feathering, but I don't know if the camera will pick this up, but it is so nearly onto the other side. And this is Tomoe River. I mean, this stuff is like magic in regards to keeping things from bleeding. So the fact that it's doing that is very disturbing to me. Again, water test, didn't move, didn't budge. The bleach, I really scrubbed it and it barely got lighter. 20-pound copier paper where I only used the extra fine. And I mean, does this look like an extra fine to you? And look at how much it spread. I mean, it just like exploded. Dried almost instantly, but as you might be able to see, there's a lot of this really fuzzy, woolly feather thing going on. There's no shading. That's a ton of bleed for an extra fine. Again, water test didn't budge. I mean, it didn't dye the page in the slightest, didn't feather, didn't explode. And the paper actually started to come apart here in the bleach test, but next is Mead Notebook Paper, where again I just used the extra fine, and look at how big those lines are. It absolutely exploded. Again, it dried almost instantly, but there's no shading. And it actually bled onto the page that I was writing on. So like I had this on another page, and the next one below it actually got ink on it. So there was full bleed through in several places. Again, water test. Perfect. Didn't move, didn't feather, didn't explode, nothing. Bleach test, nothing. Now, this is that weirdly well-behaved Moleskine paper. You see how on here, this side of the page isn't really shiny? You know, like you can see the texture of the paper. And then you see on here how it is shiny and super smooth. That's why this paper, I mean, something about the pressing process. That's why usually when I was using this paper, nothing would bleed through. But as you saw, it bled through. And this is a fine nib. I mean, it's more like a medium, but still, that's insane. This is that stuff that was acting almost like Tomoe River. And here it did bleed through. Took 2 seconds to dry. Yeah. Water test, again, didn't budge, but, I mean, it exploded. Look at how broad that line width is. I mean, you know, let's compare it to the Tomoe River. It just got huge. Right, now these are all out of order. Oh, well. But, yeah, okay, so there's DeAtramentis Document Turquoise. It's more of a light blue than a turquoise as far as color classification goes. Do not mess around with this stuff. This is one little troublemaker, I'll tell you that. It's aggressive. Be careful with it. It might be ideal for addressing envelopes, but maybe address the envelope before you put the letter in it. It's a serious bleeder. For your consideration from the Triple N Network, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.